Hey everyone, and welcome back to Business Basics Hub. Today we are talking about a very special kind of business structure, one that's super important for a lot of licensed professionals out there. We're talking about the professional corporation, or PC. So if you're a doctor, lawyer, or maybe an architect, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. All right, before we dive in, just the usual quick reminder. This is all for educational purposes, okay? You should always consult with your own legal and financial professionals before you make any big decisions. So let me ask you, are you a licensed professional? A doctor, a lawyer, an architect, maybe an accountant or an engineer? And are you thinking about launching your own practice? If that's you, then this explainer was made just for you. So what in the world is a professional corporation? It's way more than just a fancy-sounding name. It's actually a very specific legal entity, and understanding what makes it different is absolutely key for your practice. Okay, the most important thing to get right off the bat is that a PC is created under state law, not federal law. And there's a really good reason for that. It's how states keep control and regulate how licensed professionals offer their services, even when they're operating as a corporation. So who actually uses a PC? Well, we're talking about professions that need a state license to even operate. This is totally different from, say, an online Etsy shop, a consulting brand, or even a YouTube channel. Those kinds of businesses would almost always form a regular corporation or an LLC. So why do PCs even exist? I mean, why not just use a regular corporation? It all comes down to this delicate balancing act between giving professionals the awesome benefits of a corporation while also making sure there's strict regulatory oversight. Let's break down what that means. This slide really just nails the core difference. See, states created PCs to give professionals all the advantages of being a corporation. Things like signing leases, hiring employees, but they didn't want to lose control. That restricted ownership is the secret sauce. It makes sure that only licensed pros are actually running the show, which helps keep professional standards high. Okay, now that we get the what and the why, let's get into the how. If a PC sounds like it might be right for you, what are the actual steps to form one? Here's a quick 6-step overview. So the process starts with just making sure you're even eligible. You have to check with your state and your professional licensing board. Now, pay close attention to step number 3, getting board approval. That is a unique and totally critical step for PSCs that a lot of people miss. After that, it starts to look a lot more like a typical corporate setup. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, what about those other options, like a regular corporation or I think I've heard of a PLLC? Those are great questions. Let's clear up the confusion and just put them all side by side. This table makes it super clear. The PC is a corporation. We're talking shares, directors, the whole shebang. The PLLC, on the other hand, is a professional limited liability company. That's an LLC with members and managers. But here's the key thing they have in common. With both a PC and a PLLC, ownership is restricted just to licensed pros, which is not the case for a regular corporation. Okay, I need you to lean in for this next section because it is incredibly important. We're going to cover the 2 biggest and honestly most costly mistakes that beginners make when it comes to professional corporations. The first common mistake is a huge one. So many professionals believe this. They think that by forming a PC, they've built this personal shield around themselves in case they make a professional error. So the crucial point here is that belief is just plain false. A PC can protect your personal assets from business debts and even from the malpractice of your partners, but it absolutely does not protect you from being liable for your own professional negligence. Malpractice insurance is still a complete must-have. All right, the second common misunderstanding is just as important to get right. It's really easy to think that if your business offers a professional service, well, you can just go out and form a professional corporation. But the reality is that the name is literal. This structure is exclusively for professions that are legally required to have a state-issued license. You can't just choose it because it sounds good. And that right there brings us to the most important takeaway of this entire video. When you're picking a business entity as a licensed professional, this is the real question you need to be asking. Your very first stop should always be your state's laws and your profession's licensing board. Hey, if you found this helpful, do me a quick favor and hit that like button, subscribe to Business Basics Hub, and definitely turn on those notifications so you don't miss our next simple explainer. And one last time, please remember this is all for your information. Always seek advice from qualified professionals who can look at your specific situation. Thanks for watching.